What's up everyone, it's Cody, back again with another video. This time we are going to take a look at GitHub Copilot, which is an AI pair programming tool. My goal with this video is to take a look at Copilot, see what it's capable of, and then push it to its breaking point. Full disclosure, I have been using GitHub Copilot for about a day now over on TikTok, so be sure to follow me over there if you want to get daily updates. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to see how well GitHub Copilot can answer some Leetcode questions. I'm not a huge fan of answering them, so if my AI pair programmer can do that for me, that would be pretty awesome. So the first thing that I want to see is whether or not it can reverse a linked list. So I think all we have to do, and I'm not a very good Python developer. Actually, I rarely write Python, but let's go ahead and see if I say reverse a linked list. And then we give it a new line. Let's see if it does that. All right, we are already having our first issue. Maybe if we do def and then reverse linked list, maybe if we do that, will you generate my, there we go, okay. Cool, I don't know what's going on with the comments. The comments seem to work okay with JavaScript, but maybe for Python it's not quite there yet unless you give it like a function name. But so we can see I told it to reverse the linked list. We pass in a head. It goes through. If the head is none, return none. If the head next is none, then just return the head. And then after you get through those sort of corner cases, it'll actually go through, and I believe this code, this looks roughly what I would expect to see. Can Copilot invert a binary tree? So we'll do def and then invert a binary tree. Come on, there we go. All right, so it looks like that's about correct. So you have the root over here, and then root.left none and root.right none, return root, okay. The left, we are taking that and inverting it, passing in the left. Right, we're passing that into right. Roughly looks correct, so we'll go ahead and say it did that okay. Can it answer the most popular programming question of all that I've almost never been asked? Let's see if it can fizzbuzz. So def fizzbuzz. Can you do it? All right, look at that. There we go. GitHub Copilot is making technical interviews completely irrelevant. One of the questions that someone asked me on TikTok actually was, can this do linear regressions? Let's find out. So I know it can do a linear regression in JavaScript. I haven't tried this in Python yet though. So we'll see. So we have linear search. It wants me to do that, but I really want to do a linear regression. So will you generate the function to do a linear regression? Now, full disclosure, I am not a huge fan of math. In college, I did not do very well in math, and so from what I understand from linear regressions, this roughly looks okay, but someone who is much smarter than me in the comment section below, let me know, did this actually create a valid linear regression? If you're in data science, are you worried about your job at this point? Let me know in the comments. Before we move on to the next part, I just want to mention that GitHub Copilot is an extension on VS Code. That means that it only runs within VS Code. So if you're using some other IDE, it does not work right now. So if you're an Android developer, you're kind of out of luck right now unless you want to do Android development in VS Code. Maybe if we can get this to like 1,000 likes, I will go ahead and do Android development in VS Code and see what it's like. With that out of the way, I now want to actually see, can it do some SQL code generation? Because that was one of the things they demoed. They say that it can do SQL, and so if it can, let's see if it can. So we are going to go ahead and create a table, not for the Copilot, create a table for YouTube users. And so we can see that one, it's gonna create the table. We have an ID, we have a user ID, channel title, channel description, channel subscribers, channel views, videos. Videos doesn't really make much sense. So I think we're going to say, hey Copilot, you're doing good enough. All right, but what is YouTube if you don't have videos? So let's go ahead and we will create a table for YouTube videos. I don't know if it's listening to me. I don't think it can do that, but maybe it can. So we have video title, video description, video published date. That seems fine. I didn't need to give that new line there. And then video channel ID. Yeah, I think that makes sense. We'd want to have the channel ID on the video. I mean, we could have a mapping table, but that's just extra work. Video channel title. Yeah, we don't need that. You're really trying to denormalize this, or denormalize this. So we're gonna keep it there. The next one, so we have our YouTube users, we have our YouTube videos. The next one is we want to know who has liked a certain video. So create a table for YouTube likes. And let's see if it actually picks it up to understand what I'm talking about. So we have the video ID, okay. We have the user ID, liked at. All right. It would have been nice if it created a foreign key for us, but that's okay. So now that we have our table set up, the next thing that I want to do is actually do some queries on them. So let's just say I want to select all videos for a given user. So we are selecting all from YouTube videos where the video channel ID equals, and then we're selecting the channel ID from users. This, I guess this looks right. This looks okay. Not how I would have done it, but I think that would work. I probably would have done a join with this, but I think that'll still be fine. So let's do select all videos. Nope, not for a given user. Let's do select all likes for a given user. Just to see YouTube likes, user ID. We have that user ID, yeah. So it's giving us pretty much the same sort of thing. So what I want to do now is I want to sort of join the videos with the likes. And so what I think I want to do is create a view of YouTube videos with the total likes. So then we'll get a nice little joined table, which, oh my goodness, that's a lot. Let's go ahead and, all right, so we have that. Yep. Looks like it created that view for us. So one thing, just want to mention, like, if you haven't liked this video already, go ahead, give it a like. It really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. But as you can see, it doesn't really have much of a problem with SQL. It's really not generating the same SQL that I've seen in the past though. Like, so, you know, the engine InnoDB with the char set, that's fine. When I was using it yesterday, I wasn't seeing this at all. So it's kind of interesting that it sort of changes from day to day of what you're going to see when you're testing it out. Moving on from the SQL, let's go ahead and see, can it do some HTML for us? Because I kind of want to build a Pokemon thing, and so this is going to be a multi-step process. And so let's just see if I just say generate an HTML5 template. Will it know how to do that, or will I have to go find it? So we have that. Head, char set, and actually, so since we're doing a lot of this with Copilot, you can actually hover over here, and we can just say open Copilot, and it will show the solution. So it's gonna go off and find out what solution it's looking for, and as we can see, there's quite a bit going on there. I think what I want, at least for now, that would be pretty good. And okay, so it's trying to generate some bootstrap CSS for us. I don't really want that. So we'll just go ahead and remove it. This isn't going to be a pretty website by any means. So now we have our body, cool. So I don't really care about having a div, but what I would like is a header. There we go. So title, it's thinking that I want Copilot just because that's the name of the HTML name, but what I actually want to do is just say Pokemon search. And for our Pokemon search, we are going to want a input field. Let's see. So it's okay, so it's picking up Pokemon, and that I would want to do a get method for a form. I don't think I necessarily want that. What I almost want would be like an input, maybe. Can you help me out, Copilot? I'm not very good at HTML anymore. A text area. All right, so there we go. That might be what I want. Let's go ahead and just open it up and just see what we have. We are looking at our Pokemon search. So we have this text area that's not perfect, but whatever. Now, the next thing that I want to do is I want to have a button to submit the Pokemon search. And so for that, we have a search button, we save it, we go over. Cool, not really where I would want it, but that's gonna be good enough. Oh, actually, I think if I do on a new line, let's see if that will fix it for us. No, that's really not what I wanted. So we'll help it out here a little bit. I think what I would want is just a line break. And then if we go ahead and reload, cool, good enough. So the last thing that I want is a paragraph. So really like paragraph to hold the result of the Pokemon. And we have result, cool. So that's actually probably what I want. We have an ID there, we have an ID there, cool. So the next part is to actually do some JavaScript. So I think create JavaScript to retrieve Pokemon from an API. Given their name. Let's see, I don't know if it's gonna be able to do this. So that's really not what I want at all. I think that, yeah, so all right, so we have our script here. Really what I'm doing right now is just kind of being lazy. I would normally just put this in its own JavaScript file. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to import Axios. So there we go. And then the next thing that I want to do is I want to retrieve the Pokemon from an API given their name. So we have a search function with name. That's seeming okay right now. Request, so it's picking up that I've imported Axios. This isn't the right API though. So let's go ahead and see if it has some additional options. What I really want it to do is I want it to pick up the open sourced Pokemon API. That way we can retrieve it that way. All right, so it looks like this solution right here might be the one that I want. That's pretty ugly. If I save, there we go. So this actually might work out pretty well. I don't know, this might actually do everything. This could be good. I was not expecting that it might do this, but it looks sort of right. So let's see. Charmander, search. All right, I don't think it did it. Darn it, it looked like it was gonna do it. Axios isn't being imported. So there's our problem. All right, so let's see real quick if I just do add Axios script. Okay, so this might work. We're pulling from Cloudflare, which I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but whatever. Now we are back over here. Let's go ahead, refresh. It's still not liking that. I think what we wanted was something like this, although, yeah, we'll see, I don't know. So we go ahead, refresh. I'm still seeing an error. It is not liking this. Import statement outside a module. Do I even need it? Maybe that's all of my problem. Like, if we do now Charmander. Oh no, we're being blocked by cores. All right, well, we were so close though. So we were really close. So let's see what we would have gotten, because it did try to make the request. And we would have gotten that. So I'm gonna say Copilot did okay. It would have been nice if it would have foresaw that this needed cores and that we should have done that, but I'm gonna give it a pass. We're gonna say it's okay. The next thing that I wanna do before we move into something other than JavaScript is I just wanna see some other basic web stuff. So we already know it can do some pretty complex things, making a network request to a Pokemon API that didn't even know it would know about, but it did, which is great. And so the next thing that you might do in JavaScript is just some general regex. So let's go ahead and just say, create a regex, let's say to that matches an email address. Or actually not matches, that validates an email address. We'll try to help it out a little bit. So right now it's kind of thinking, it's generating this. I don't know if that regex is actually valid. So let's go ahead and we'll copy it over to regexer and we'll see, is it actually valid? So we're over in regexer now, and we're gonna go ahead and copy and paste that in. I think that's okay. I've never added something really complex with this. So let's just go ahead and try Cody at example.com. So, oh, I see, because it's only gonna match one at a time. So Cody at, not quite, but it does, it sort of works. So we'll give that sort of a pass. You tried, but you didn't do everything correct. The next one is, let's create a regex that validates phone number. That was exactly what I was looking for, actually. So we have that, and then again, same thing. We're just gonna drop that into regexer. We're gonna see if it can validate a phone number. So we'll just do 815-555-72432. I don't know. That's made up number. So looks like it worked. Let's try, or I guess, yeah, let's see if is this international safe? No, it's not. It'll work for the US. I guess that's something. I'd say this is also similar, probably we'll say a 70%. All right, so let's see, create a regex that validates zip code. It's reading my mind. This is what I wanted, so cool. So we will again, go ahead, copy that over. We'll drop that in, and then 60654. Simple enough, it worked. Create a regex that validates an IPv4 address. That's a lot of stuff. Let's go ahead and see. Is it working? Is it valid? 192.168.1.1. Cool. .1.100. All right. Seems to work. So I'm gonna trust it on this one, but we'll just see. So create a regex that validates an IPv6 address. It's taking a little bit of time, but it already is saying it's not correct. All right, well, you tried, Copilot. Maybe this was just an issue with, no, you tried. You got halfway there, it looks like, but you didn't finish your regex. Oh well. We've looked at what Copilot can do with what languages they say are sort of officially supported, but let's see what Copilot will do if we use a language that is not officially supported. I like Kotlin. It's a pretty good language. Let's go ahead and see how Kotlin works, not only in VS Code, but how well it works when you're using it with Copilot. So I'm going to start off and just give it something easy. Add, well, yeah, let's call this fun, add numbers. And already we can see this is not Kotlin. Okay, so since this isn't Kotlin, let's go ahead and just, let's give it another shot. So we're telling it add numbers. Let's open Copilot to see what answers it's trying to give us. None of these are Kotlin. I'm deeply offended. So let's go ahead and just try and help it out. So if I do a and then int, so now it's sort of picking up, oh, okay, well maybe we don't start with the type. And then so then it actually gets it. So Kotlin required a little bit more finessing, but I'm hoping now that it has that context of this is what Kotlin looks like, maybe it will pick up and the rest of these tests that we're about to give it will go a little bit better. All right, so let's try fun and then generate Fibonacci. So it's doing it as a list. I think that makes sense. Else, generate Fibonacci. Is it confused? Well, come on now, don't leave me hanging like this. Oh wait, no. Okay, this is actually fine because okay, yeah, we could just format it this way. Yep. Not necessarily the safest code, but that's what we have. The next thing that I want to try and see if it can do is, can it generate a factorial? Not a Fibonacci, factorial. No, I don't think that's what I necessarily wanted. Yeah, I don't, even now that I'm looking at it, I don't even know if I wanted this. All right, you know what? We're just gonna move on from this. We're gonna try something maybe a little bit more up to speed with this, where if I maybe just give it some comments, where I say, this is a comment. So we're gonna convert a string to SpongeBob case. And the example of that would be, so it's sort of generating this for me. I appreciate this because it makes it less typing for me, but I need to update it so it knows what it's going to be doing. And so we have that. You're not gonna generate another one for me? Hey Cody should become, actually let's see if it'll pick up on the randomness. Like, hey Cody, that might be enough, we'll see. Fun, and then to SpongeBob case, and not at all. Not at all. The last one we're gonna do is we're just gonna do fun string, and then we're gonna say validate email. Or instead of valid email, let's say is valid email. Let's, it equals true. That, no, Boolean equals, and then regex pattern, compile, matches. Sure, maybe that's a valid email. I don't know at this point. All right, so this has been a first look at GitHub Copilot. My initial impressions on this are I am both blown away, overwhelmed by how much it can do, and then at the exact same time, I am just super underwhelmed by what it does. We've come super far, and yet we have not come as far as we think we have. So I think this works really well if you already understand the language somewhat and you sort of know what you're looking for, and if that language is like a first-class citizen in Copilot. So for example, Kotlin, that's what I work in, day out. That is what I would love to demo with Copilot, but it is not a like officially supported language. Copilot says that it'll work fine in any language, but it works best in like these different languages, which are like Python, JavaScript, Go. I think they might mention HTML. I think they might not though. It's a smaller subset of languages. For myself, where I sort of struggle is I'm not super great with JavaScript, so I can't give as great of an example as I would like to. I think it does show you can do quite a bit with this AI programmer. I'm planning on doing a more in-depth video about Copilot and talking through how is it built, go through some more fleshed out example. Maybe I'll give some better demos that I've tested out to really show what it is capable of. And so if that video interests you, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below with whatever questions you have about Copilot. I will try to answer those in that follow-up video. And other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.